Hello everyone, welcome to Olsen Cafe. In today's lesson, we will be solving a commonly asked vector question in O-level. But before you proceed, ensure that you have the prerequisite knowledge, which I have covered in my earlier videos. You may want to check them out first, so you can see the video lesson number 3, 6, and 7. What I will not cover in this question, right, will be those involving parallel vectors, asking you to write the two facts about vectors or to prove that any given 3 points lie on a straight line, or another word that is to prove that they are collinear. So if you want to find out a little bit more on this topic, you can check out my video lessons number 5. All right, let's begin. Yeah, so here is the question. So let us try to understand the problem first, all right, as always. So do not jump in and to try to solve. Always make an effort to understand the diagram. So what you can see is AF, which is given here, AF is parallel to BE. So if you put this together, you have AF parallel to BE. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to identify and highlight this particular triangle. I think based on this, it is actually not difficult to identify the pair of similar triangles. So you can see that triangle BCD is actually similar to triangle ACF. So that is first point that you need to take note. Now, then the other information that you will notice, right, you will see is this particular information. It says that CD is to DG is to GF is 1 is to 5 is to 2. So I'm going to put all this information down. So that means I know that this is 1, this is 5 units, and this is 2 units. So if we are going to apply similar triangles, then we know that the corresponding sides should have the equal ratio. So which means I will know that this BC is 1 unit, and then my BA is actually 7 units. So based on this, right, I will be able to see, all right, that since CD to CF is 1 is to 8, I can also conclude that my BC to AC is 1 is to 8. So once I have all this information, right, to solve or to show that BC is equals to 1 over 7A is actually very simple. So what we have here is, I know that vector BC is actually equals to 1 over 7 times of AB. So putting all the information, and we already know that AB is A, so I can easily prove that is 1 over 7A. Now before I move on and to proceed, I just want to get everyone to take note of the notation, because one of the common errors students make, right, during exam is tend to forget the notation. So in this case, I just want to remind everybody, all right, that when you present your work, right, make sure you have the tilde sign. Yeah, because on paper, it is always in bold, right, to denote vector notation. But when you present your work, make sure that you have the tilde sign. Okay, so let's move on to the part 2 of the question. Right, in this segment here, the most important and the most fundamental concept, right, which is to apply triangle law of vector addition. So it is called triangle law is simply because when you form the vector equation, right, you will look out for a triangle, right? So that will help you to form the equation, and then from there to do addition. So let's begin. So if we take a look at first part, right? First part, they ask you to find CF. So if you take a look, CF, which is what I have here, CF, starting from C, will end with F. So CF is the same as CA plus AF. So that is the vector equation that we have. And if we are going to put all this together, right? So you will see that I have CF is equals to CB plus BA, because CB plus BA, this itself, it is actually our CA. And then putting all this information together, All right, early on we already have that BC is equals to negative 1 over 7a. Then I continue with moving the opposite direction of AB, so it's minus of A, and then I add the vector B. So bear in mind, this is not the final answer. So what I need to do is I need to simplify, and therefore simplifying the expression, this will give me negative 8 over 7A plus B. Now, so this first part is easy. All right, now then move on to CD. Now, how about CD? So if we look at CD, so let's look at the information that we already have earlier on. So I know that CD is here, and what we have is that CD is related to CF, which is what we already have here. So what we are going to do is we are going to apply the ratio that we already know, because I know that this is 1 unit, this is 5 units, and this is 2 units. So based on this ratio, all right, what we will know is that CD is actually equals to 1 over 8 of CF. So putting all this together, CF we already have, right? So therefore, I sub what is CF into the expression and I simplify the equation. I can easily also get the vector for CD. So again, to remember, when you present your work, right? So remember to put in delta sign for every single vector notation. So this is something whereby we have to bear in mind. Now let us move on to part 3. And part 3 here require us to find AG. So again, we apply triangle law of vector addition. So what we're going to have is, let me highlight AG. So AG is here, right? So with this, right, you notice that over in this case, there are two different possibilities, right? Because we are going to form triangles, right? So there are two possibilities. That means I can have AG equals to AC plus CG. That is one possible, right, way of solving. Or I can also look at it as AG is equals to AF plus FG. So at this point, when there are two different options, right, then how do I choose which is the better one? So what we will do is I'll look at what is the information that we already have. Yeah. So based on the first part of the lesson, right, we know that this is 1 unit, this is 5, and this is 2. And we know that we already have CF that we found from part 1. So if I already have CF, I can easily work out what is FG, or I can easily work out what is CG. Right? So both method actually still the same. Right? It doesn't matter. So for the solutions here, I'm going to apply using AG equals to AF plus FG. Yeah, so over here, so let's focus on this. So which means I'm going to focus on this particular triangle. And as I mentioned earlier on, so do we know what is FG? Yes, we do know what is FG because I already know the ratio for FG is 2 over the entire CF, that is 8 units, right? So putting this together, I will have FG is equals to negative 2 over 8 CF, negative because it is moving in the opposite direction. So putting all this information, all right, do I have AF? Yes, I have AF because AF is simply vector B. So putting these together, right, we will get vector B minus of 2 over 8. And what is CF? CF, this is what we already have from part 1 of the section. So again, we will need to simplify. So as I simplify, we will be able to derive 2 over 7A plus 3 quarter B. All right, we have moved on to the last part of the question, which you will see in most vector question in O level. That is, require you to find the ratio of areas. And to know this part of, to know how to find, right, you may want to check out the video lessons number 7. So in that lesson, I have covered two important skills. Number one, that is how to identify similar triangles. And if they are not similar triangles, then how to identify the common height between the two triangles. So we are going to apply these two skills over here. Now, so we look at part 1. Part 1, we need to find the ratio of area triangle BCD is to area of triangle ACF. So one look at the two triangles, and we have already touched on in part A, we know that these two triangles are similar. Yeah, so let me draw out and highlight the two triangles and show you. So in this case, we already know the ratio. So ratio of CD is 1 unit. And then we had in part A, we know that this ratio here is 7 units, which means I know that the entire length for AC is actually 8 units. So putting all this information together, we know that ratio of area is equals to square ratio of the sides. So CD is 1 unit, and we know that CF over here is 8 units. So putting this together, I'm able to find the ratio of two areas easily. Now let's look at part 2. Now in part 2, we want to find the ratio of AG is to EG. So we take a look and we have this. So let me use a highlighter. So to highlight the triangle, so I have AG here. All right, and AG involves this triangle. Then if we take a look at EG, EG is this one here. All right, so over here, you must be able to identify a second pair of the similar triangles, right? Because we already know that AF is parallel to BE. So once you're able to identify that these two triangles are similar, so what we have and putting it together, we know the ratio of DG is 5 units and then GF is 2 units. So since similar triangles have equal ratio, so therefore I know that the ratio of AG is also 2 units and then EG is 5 units. So with this, I can find the ratio of AG to EG as 2 is to 5. So this is easily done. Now let's move on to the last part of the question. Now the last part of the question that require you to find the ratio of area of triangle FEG is to triangle AFE. So to do that, you must be able to identify the relationship between the two triangles. So quite clearly, you can see that the two triangles are not similar. So how are they related then? So you will see that FEG is here. So I have this triangle, right? FEG, which is this. Then triangle AFE is involved. So AFE, which is the bigger triangle that you can see from here in blue. So what is the ratio between these two triangles? You look at the base, right? AG is 2 units, and then EG earlier on we know that is already 5 units. So the relationship that we have between these two triangles is that they actually have the common height. So if you're trying to identify the common height, you can easily draw out, I can see the common height over here. So using the basic formula of how to find area, that is half times base times height. So I will have for triangle FEG, I have half times EG, all right, EG which is here, half times EG times the perpendicular height. And then for the second triangle, triangle AFE, I will have half times AE, which is the bigger triangle over here, half times AE times height. So with all this, right, and if I go to cancel away H and half, so what eventually that we see is the ratio of the two area is actually the ratio of the two bases. So the bases will be EG as 5, and then I have AE that is equals to 7. So putting all this together, I will have the answer for part 3 as 5 over 7. Yeah, so with this, I complete the entire questions, right, on how to solve a commonly asked questions on vectors in O level. Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier on, what I did not include over here is the concept
that tests you on parallel vectors, that is to ask you how to write down the two facts about the vectors or to explain why the 3 points lie on a straight line or collinear. Yeah, which this part I have already covered in my earlier videos. Alright, so thank you for watching. Alright, see you in the next video. Bye.